Seekers! All right, it is Monday and the weekend is gone. And I know that you enjoyed your weekend like I did. I really enjoyed my weekend, got some time out and, had some conversations, a great conversation, with a few friends or a friend. And it was a time to just take a moment out and relax for a minute. But didn't mean that I could not wait to get here today because, we're going to be going into a part of this UFO thing that I think we need to discuss because it's going to talk about the biblical side. We're going to connect some of the things that, is it true or could it be something else besides aliens, these UFOs? And oftentimes, you're going to hear a lot of stories. And I think I told you my personal story of what I was told at quite some time, and I'm not going to get into it here on the show tonight, but a lot of you have heard it, which had led me to go to the road of symbolism and sigils and protections because it was something deeper, far more sinister than just aliens. So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to use a reference in a book that I have, and it's just one of his chapters. We're going to talk about it. Text Mars. This guy has got some great stuff. But he also talks about a lot of conspiracy. So in here is the conspiracy world, and we're going to go over one of his chapters in the show, and which I think is a great conversation for us to be having tonight. And if you saw the title, Biblical Prophecy and the Truth About UFOs, Alien Abductions, the truth about it, right? And this is going to be based upon what he said and some of the things that he have in here. So we're going to talk about that as well. So I want you to sit back tonight. I want you to open your minds because your mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. Because tonight we're going to twist a little bit. We're going to go fast and hard. We're going to throw some thought-provoking questions and statements out here when it comes down to the biblical side of this UFOs, the aliens, and maybe some demons as well. And I think it's worth the conversation for us to have in our community. And maybe this conversation tonight be one of those ones that you're going to share. But I promise you, by the time we're finished this show tonight, you're going to have a different perspective on maybe it is something up. Maybe there's hiding something. Maybe it's something we ain't supposed to know. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's them. Maybe it's underneath. Maybe it's above. So below. I'm wearing the shirt. You can get this on the website, truthversusauthority.store today. Support the show and get you one of these shirts and hats as well. All right, so let's get right down into the conversation so that we can go into it right now. So real quickly, and it's really, again, it's about a conspiracy being unveiled. Like I said, I'm just taking one little chapter out of this particular book. I got all of his stuff, most all of them. And those are, they play, especially as Kodak Magic. We need to definitely talk about some of the stuff in that book. But like I said, we're going into a lot of this now. But anyway, are we being lied to is where we're going to get right into and start. The sources in this particular book opens with a bombshell claiming that there is a colossal conspiracy and cover-up surrounding UFO and alien abductions. And he goes into a lot of detail about it, which I'm going to go through it with you here too, because it's just part of the thing. And some of the points that we're going to go into a little bit is the Pentagon, the CIA, the FBI. They all, if you notice and you've been following the history of ufology, they all flat out refusing to divulge the top secret documents about UFO investigations. And this is where we have this time we're calling disclosure at this moment. And so that is one of the foundations of a lot of stuff and a lot of people. Anyway, give you a little backstory about me. I've been doing this UFO thing for quite some time, being a UFO investigator as well, even working with the MUFON organization, also being part of all these different TV shows, Open Mind, Beyond Belief with George Norrie, Regina Meredith, Discovery Channel, hosted channel, Gaia, been featured on Ancient Aliens and all of those things, Coast to Coast Radio. I've been on Clubhouse. I got a contract for them to do a UFO show when they was in their prime. So I've been doing this. So welcome you, if you're here for the first time, that you're hearing from someone who is not just in the fray, but also has a worldview that comes down a little bit with a little humor when it comes to this, because so people are so serious. It's so much. And I don't want you or me, we get indulged into the game that they play about disclosure that's going to happen. And I'm not saying we have not made some strides, leaps and bounds into getting a little bit of taste of what's out there, but it's really going to be coming from the witnesses. That is where it is. This is why it's so important for us to go where we're going. Also, we've been told, or we've been bombarded with sensational reports and alarming alien abductions for years. And this has been the staple of the ufology community when it comes down to this. But the credibility of witnesses is off the charts now. I mean, we got experienced U.S. Air Force people, as you know, David Grush and a lot of those people, commercial airline pilots. I was in a TV show with one. NASA astronauts, as you know, engineers, scientists, and even former U.S. presidents have reported UFO incidents. And that gives us a better foundation to, where we're going with this, or where has it have grown to, so that we can kind of go a little deeper. However, when we talk about the colossal conspiracy and cover-up, and he talks about this in this chapter that we're talking about tonight with Texas Mars, anyway, conspiracy world. We're going to go through a lot of stuff that's in here, and this was written quite some time ago. So it really gives you the deep thought and things that are being said that you're not going to hear today, because a lot of this stuff gets weeded out now. And luckily, we still go backwards to go forward on this show, because backwards information, ancient all the way back, happens to be the best kind to go through, to let you know. Well, like I was just alluding to, when we have all of these credible witnesses and everything, and the colossal cover-up, the phrase itself alone, it ignites suspicion and outrage, and it makes you want to know, who are they protecting? And it's a question that I think that lies beneath everything. Not what is happening to us, not what is going on. And remember, I always say, why? Our whole organization and community is defined on the word why. We used to have the show, Why the Big Secret. That's one of my old trademarks. But the problem with that is that the why is probably the most important part when you want to go in depth in any truth-seeking endeavor, journey, or whatever you want to call it, because nothing is more important as the why. And when you start thinking about tying it into what we're going to talk about tonight, biblical prophecy, that changes the game a lot. It really does. And it's going to change your view, your perspective, and the way that we look at it, but also maybe confirm, and I'm going to use that word, confirm twice here, some stories that maybe they're not aliens. Maybe they're not, extraterrestrial beings. Maybe it is you and me and us who's come from the past to the future, or the future to the past to the current, whatever. Or in some cases, they could be some other forces of dark forces that needs to be reckoned with, or are in trying to control the souls, which is us, right? We're soul beings, remember? So we're going to get into that. But anyway, the question is, who are they protecting, and why are we not allowed to know? See, that question always lingered with me quite some time. And I've toyed with it. And if you watch me grow over the years, it went not only why we're not allowed to know, it's starting to becoming there is a reason we shouldn't know. And now when you think about that, and that don't mean that we don't search for the truth. It just means that at some point, the truth could be very detrimental to people's health, well-being, their way of life, how they're going to function tomorrow, what they're going to function with, knowing what they did know today or yesterday, and knowing tomorrow is a lethal thing when you add on some unknown knowledge. In some cases, people can't handle it, because the sheer number of documented and reliable UFO incidents that are reported by highly credible individuals like those pilots, again, astronauts, the conflict sharply with official dismissal is always the problem, creating a massive cognitive dissonances. And, I practice on that word, right? In the meaning of that. And we have to understand, I even talk about that in relationship sides, that cognitive dissonance is a very, very strong term and something to be understood when you're dealing with any type of conflict of information when it comes down to it. So to give you something to think about as we get ready to go further is I'm gonna give you a couple of questions, and you can put it in a chat. You can kind of, work with us as we go further here. But why are these powerful governments, agencies, of course, refusing to share the information that could impact humanity? See, that has always been the foundation of everything, because that's what's driving the humans to want the truth, because it's not because they want to know who is and whatever. It's all about, some cases, humanity, to better humanity. But the question is, too, do we really truly understand humanity? Do we really understand the definition, the meaning, not in our viewpoint, not within the way we see the world, but the way that it is designed by the Creator itself? Because humanity could mean a lot of stuff get to go on. A lot of stuff get to happen with no remorse. A lot of stuff get to happen because there's a set of rules, natural laws, of course, is the rules that goes beyond the scope of human comprehension when it comes down to humanity, right? And so we got to look at that and go deeper into that as we go further. And it's just something for you to ponder on. I'm not really giving you concrete of that. I'm just saying, like Seminole Hall used to say back in the day. So again, that when you think about these things, why is the official narrative still one of denial and obfuscation? Now, the other question is, could these sensational reports actually be a drip fed of truth, slowly preparing us for something monumental? So think about that for a minute. We tend to, because if you go back to the history of ufology, when we started this back in the day, it was all top secret. They're not telling us nothing, blah, blah, blah. And then over the last 3 to 4 or 5 years, the script was flipped. What they were denying, they no longer denied. And now it flipped up a whole decades, almost a century of, not century, but I would say 5 or 6 decades of truth seekers slamming the big secret keeper, saying that they're hiding something, they're telling us something. And now they trying to come out with this dumb approach, is that we don't know what it is in our sky. We don't really know what's happening at this point. And it's working. It's really working. It works so well that they flipped the script to say that they didn't know what it was. We got behind them trying to figure it out with them. You get what I'm saying? They flipped the script so good, so fast over the years of, there's nothing to see here, folks. There's nothing to see here, folks. Build up a wall. And if you want to go flat earther, build up an ice wall. And all of a sudden, now they flip the script and say, we don't know what it is. Maybe y'all help us. Maybe y'all go to work 80 more hours a week and give us funding from taxpayers' money to go find out what y'all want us to know. And we fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. We fell for it. We voted on stuff. We put people in office, and we did all these things in contrast to their idea that they planted to us that they don't know either. And all along, they knew, and they knew the evolution of what we're going to get into, the biblical side of it tonight. So, and it gets even more unsettling, because these sources that we're going to be going into claims that what's happening isn't just curiosity, it's an omen. Now, I use the word. Get your imagination together now where this show is going to go tonight. And we're going to go a little ways with this. So sit back, put the kids to bed. You might go over an hour or so. We're going to go into a whole lot of areas tonight. And I'm going to keep this thing, and I'm going to start really fast, and we're going to move down the pipeline. So first, we're going to talk about the omniscious reality of what's happening, okay? And I want you to hold on a little bit, because what's going on is described as omniscious and frightening. He talks about that in this little chapter, and could literally end the world as we know it. Now, we hear so many terms about the New World Order. We hear about that all the time, and it gets a lot of confusion. It has a lot of underlining, things to think about, how to look at things, maybe to see it a certain way. Maybe they're going to do these things. But when we're talking about in the world, and of course, in the biblical terms, there's a lot of people say we're at the end of days and all of those things. Maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's the end of the world as we know it. Maybe it's the end of the days as we know it. not the world, because for some reason, in spite of all the stuff that has been happening, this planet has been here millions of years, several resets, several repopulation, several deluge, floods, you name it. It ain't going nowhere. It just we have. And so obviously there's a bigger thing at work here. And when we want to sit here as humanity, say that we're at the end of days, I think we may just need to change the terminology. And it's just me talking to the end of the world as we know it. Because see, this author, Texie Mars is his name. And he states unquestionably something is going on. Now, Jordan Maxwell talks about it all the time. I have a friend, Rocket, if you know who that is, played for the Cowboys. You're one of my favorite players, Ismail the Rocket, right? He was texting me the other day some things, and I'm going to reach out to him and share with him a story on some of the stuff that he was sharing with me. But it really inclined me to go into this conversation today and stuff, and based upon some of the videos and links that he was sending me. And it all based on that we may be dealing with a different understanding when it comes to UFOs and aliens. But anyway, the author here, Texie Mars, all right, unquestionably talks about something is wrong. He also says something's both omniscious and frightening, that this isn't just a theory. He said it's presented as a stark reality, that this something, and I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you said, well, Roderick, what the heck is this something? Because, people always go something. And so something may totally and dramatically change our lives or even this world as we know it, and the stakes couldn't be higher. So let's get into that. The source of this explicitly links this to the manipulation of mankind by a dark force or forces behind the invasions of UFOs or unidentified flying objects, plain and simple. And if you've heard my story of when I went into the Oregon and when I told you about the situation that I met and what they told me, and explicitly the lady said, she didn't say you was going down the wrong direction. She just said, it's not what you think. You need to protect yourself from demons instead, and all of these other stuff. And so, and there's always been stuff out there saying the government discovered that a few years ago. I don't know if New Elizondo mentioned it or someone else, is why it started changing in congressional, because once it became demons and not extraterrestrials and everything else, it then had a problem. The problem existed within the congressional people. Now you got their morality, their morals, or their religious background kicks in over the journey of protecting the citizens of the United States. People wouldn't sign off on certain things because their religion wouldn't allow them to, or all of this stuff. And that was, remember, I said years ago, we don't need those type of people in office. They cannot stand on their religious aptitudes when it comes down to the discovery or giving us the information that we need. But obviously, it's starting to make some sense. And so again, then President Ronald Reagan, if you remember back then, pondered the remark at the UN General Council. And this was a quote that he said. He said, I often wonder how quickly the peoples of the world would unite if we were threatened by an alien invasion. Now, this isn't a casual thought from a world leader. Now, we are sitting here thinking of the word alien is going to be gray, big eyes, whatever. Anything that's not here is alien. Anything that's not original to where we are will be considered the word alien. And that means demons as well. And so did he know that? Did he know that? And when he used the world, meaning all of us are going to be facing this problem. And I'll use the quote again. He says, I often wondered how quickly, and if I can say it in a presidential way, he was like, hey, I often wonder how quickly the people of the world will unite if we were threatened by an alien invasion. Roderick Martin for president, right? So he used that with authority, but it has so much speculation at the time, because all we thought at the time, or not then, maybe when I heard it in my infancy strays of ufology days, when I was just getting into it as an infant of getting down this rabbit hole, you thinking of little green man or gray man or whatever. And then, of course, now you get deeper as the Anunnaki and all this stuff. But could they have already known something that we didn't know? Or maybe it's all of above. So the other part of this, the immediate sense of dread from the omniscious and frightening and the potential to end this world creates immediate urgency and fear. And fear drives a lot of scenarios right now. Fear is the ultimate tool that is used for the problem reaction solution model that they do every day on us, or every time in the media, that when you begin to know it. The phrase manipulation of mankind by dark forces intensely is really, I think it's very provocative when you start thinking about it, implying a hidden and malevolent agenda, plain and simple. And so that means that we need to stop thinking about all of this other kumbaya side of this theories or hypotheses of alien involvement, all that they're coming to rescue humanity. And remember, we talked about right at the beginning, I got right into the word humanity, because I think there could be, and I'm just saying it for me, and I could be corrected. I haven't even looked into the chats today, and I'm hoping you guys are being involved in the conversation. But I have not sit here, and I'm sure I will get some people that will give me their viewpoint and objectives or idea when it comes down to humanity. But when they start using words like dark forces, and you start seeing, and as we tie into this, the rituals and the secret societies, the occults, and what they tap into, ain't none of them tapping into aliens. Although Jordan Maxwell say that they are having alien, forces behind it. But again, they are tapping into aliens if we get the literal term of alien. And I maybe even want to look that up on a dictionary.com and just kind of see what would the meaning of that even be. And that may be just something to really think about it. I'm just going to go Google while we're talking and see if there is what is the, and I'm going to just see if there is a definition for the word alien. Maybe one of y'all can look that up for me. What is the definition of alien? All right, so now literally, now here's how they do it here. All right. And so it's something really to look at. I'm going to put it on the screen for us so that you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So let's do a screen share, and we're going to open up the window and booyah. All right. So the definition of alien says belonging to a foreign country or nation. However, look at the bottom. A foreigner, especially one who's not naturalized citizen of the country where they are living, and they try to say this is an illegal alien. So you get already the term alien in the more dictionary term. It has nothing to do with extraterrestrial being. But if you want to go to the baseline of this, belonging to a foreign country or nation. So let's really think about that for a quick second and take it to another level of thought. What if it's belonging to another dimension, belonging to another world, belonging to another whatever, and we remove the word country and nation, and it applies to something that is foreign, period. We can stop right there. So when they start saying alien and we start thinking extraterrestrial, could that simply still be demonic or demons and angels or whatever you want to call it? Could they be considered aliens in the original context that our forefathers or whoever started writing these word spells really mean? It's just we twisted it up. We twisted it up because we do know that the people from Mexico that they're trying to deport, which I'm not even for all of the worst things that they're doing, they're calling them aliens. They're not from another planet. They're humans. They're human beings, and they should be treated like that. However, going to the dictionary, it is saying belonging to a foreign, meaning not existing where we are. So if we break that down, that takes us to a whole nother level when the government or that they are saying that we have aliens that are visiting us or coming into our realms. Remember, they're already starting to say they're not coming from up there. Some are coming from down here, and then some are coming from within. So all of this changes everything. And when they said we are manipulated by some type of dark forces in there. And again, I've always liked to play Jordan Maxwell's statement that he's made, so I'm gonna play it again to bring context into what I'm saying.
Harmony, I think we're being set up for something very serious and very big by some very powerful secret societies that very well could have extraterrestrial or otherworld intelligence guiding it. All over the world, we have accepted the authority as truth rather than truth as the authority.
So what I'm saying right there is he believed otherworldly, okay? And that doesn't mean extraterrestrial. It could just mean other worlds that are beyond our dimension. So that is something I think that we want to go into it, because President Reagan, when he made that statement, as I repeat, he said, I often wonder how quickly the people of the world would unite if we were threatened by an alien invasion. How quickly would that happen? Oh, probably happen pretty darn quickly. However, President Reagan's comment to a globalist organization at the time, like the UN, suggests high-level awareness of possibly, think about it, a pre-planned narrative. And we all heard of it. We all heard of Project Blue Beam and all of these things, and holographic use of technology, voices, and I talked about it in the last show, the possible hearing the God voice and all of those things. So it forces us to ask, was he truly pondering, or was he dropping a hint about a future event? Could he have been doing that back then? And so once we start thinking about it, so let's get into a few questions I want to get into, things that I want you to think about this. Is it so omniscious and frightening? Why are we, if it was, so to speak, why are we not, or the world governments being more transparent? Think about it. Why are they not being more transparent? Are they part of the manipulation? And people, we're not talking about just the United States of America. We're talking about the entire world governments, in spite of wars, in spite of differences, in spite of religions, in spite of viewpoints. This one deal right here, this one thing, when it comes down to the aliens of the world, seem to be a unified effort that they all do to keep us from knowing. And maybe it threatens all of their power if it all comes down the wrong way. Maybe that's just where it is. I was just watching a movie or cartoon that in front of our children. It's in front of our children that ants, y'all remember the thing ants, when Hopper, the grasshopper, when he was telling the three grasshoppers who was saying, oh, they're just a tiny ant, Hopper, just one tiny ant. And he said, oh, really? And he took one acorn, y'all remember, and he hit one of them and said, how'd that feel? Oh, no, that's just one ant. He hit another one and another one. And he then threw all the acorns on them. And he said, listen, people, if that one ant then begins to share the information with the rest of those ants, do you know our way of life will change? They outnumber us 100-1. They cannot know the truth. So they put this out in our children's mind, in children's cartoons. And I'm saying they're all are together when it comes down to this particular ideology of the aliens, and it's all over the world when it comes to this. Also, is the unity envisioned by Reagan truly for our benefit, or what it means to control us under a manufactured threat? And once again, if they need to unify the world, it's going to have to be something coming from the sky. That's the only way it's going to work, because anything on the grounds we don't care about much, right? Or under the ground, we're going to think it's the devil or hell or whatever. But if it comes from the sky, which since the beginning of time, anything that came from there, we looked at it as gods anyway in our human in forms when we were. So that's one of the things there. So the other part about this, what kind of change are these dark forces bringing? And is it outright destruction or more insidious form of control? Now we start looking at what is happening in real time today. All of the changes, then the word control is all written all over it. And it's happening right in our faces. They're going to control our money. when they get it all digital. They're going to control what you do. They're going to control what you eat when they're from the seeds. They're going to control what you eat by manipulating the foods now and growing this in lab foods. They're controlling everything, every single thing. Now our minds, now AI is controlling the world. So control is written all over the agenda. And apparently we must have the power as the people that we could probably change something if we was to know the truth. Maybe that's what it is, but they're working very hard to make sure they maintain total dominancy when it comes to this. So as it gets more alarming when you realize that President Reagan isn't the only global figure who has voiced such chilling prospects. So what about other world leaders? So let's kind of get into and bring you up to speed, the unity through fear, okay? Let's kind of go there. Shockingly, even Russia at the time, Communist Party chief, remember back in the day, if you know, go look it up, Mikhail Gorbachev, that was his name, voiced the same terrifying concern as Reagan. And like I said, I'm taking this out of chapter of this particular conspiracy world, which is very good. You might want to add this to your library, you know, of information. And he talked to Gorbachev, or whatever his name, echo Reagan's sentiment and he said, what if a hostile UFO aliens attack seeking to conquer and destroy? So here it is, one of our enemies of the United States, who they shouldn't agree on anything, said and echoed the same sentiment to his people at the time. This is before it came, the Soviet Union now is Russia, okay? So you got to think about it. So the core question posed by these leaders is, would mankind unite to stave off defeat by a dreaded common foe? And so once again, we're still thinking aliens. We're still thinking maybe it's a brigade or something that's coming, and then we're going to tie it into in a minute, because now it's going to get a little biblical for you, because the sources draw a potent parallel. Now listen where we're about to go. This is where the title of the video or the live stream goes. The sources draw a potent parallel to humanity's past attempt at unity and the Tower of Babel, right, which was thwarted by God as an evil effort at the time. And a critical question in this pose, could a UFO threat fuel a yet another attempt to unite all men and nations? So think about that for a minute. If we want to tie it back into, as we get ready to go deep now into more of a biblical parts of this, the Tower of Babel, if you remember, and then the consequences of that was mankind was then placed in the four corners of the earth, where their languages was then changed so that they were unable to communicate with one another. So that was the whole reason of doing that. So I think once you start thinking about it, you know, here we go, right? So as we continue to go down the road here, and I want you to think about it. So the ideal of hostile UFO aliens attacking to conquer and destroy paints a picture of apocalyptic conflict and desperate survival. Think about it for me, because we get ready to go deep now. Are you with me? Are you following me? I'm going to say it again. The idea, and before I say that, let me open things up for you. Your mind is like a parachute, okay? Today, it's like a parachute. It's gonna work best when it's open. So open your mind, because your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. So open it up right now. And the comparison of the Tower of Babel, is highly charged, okay? And was that truly an evil effort, or just a human desire for the collective power that was perceived as a threat to divine order, and the concept clashes with modern ideals of global corporation? Because you got to remember, by God as an evil effort. And who was that God? You know, and you got to remember, I'm not talking about the Most High, all of that. We're going to go down a level. We're going to come down a level. We're going to come down a level to everything that did come out of this sky says, I'm your God. Everybody wants to say there is a God. This is why we have all these different religions. And the goal is a monotheistic world. That is probably the goal. And if they can do that, unify that, they can win for sure. However, what I'm saying is the implication that a UFO threat could be a catalyst for a new potential evil global unity is deeply unsettling. So let's get into a couple of things to get your thoughts going here. And this is the question for you. If global unity, even against common enemies, always a good thing, or could it be precursor to a darker agenda? Have we noticed these things already today? And I'll repeat that. Is global unity, even against a common enemy, always a good thing, or can it be a precursor to a darker agenda? Just think about that. Let that sink in for a minute. And then you can post your comments, because again, the major question is, and this is just me asking, it's just me, why would God thwart unity at Babel? Why would our God thwart, or the God, in their cases, gods too, thwart unity? He's all about love and unity. Why would he not want unity? Why would he put us in four corners of the earth? Why would he drown us out? Why would he wipe us off the planet, bring us back, redo his create? Why would the Almighty do that? Now, when you start thinking about other folks who are playing God or putting these things out there on us, and that was it. Now, okay, I see Denisha says rebellion. Did we rebel against God? And he was saying, no, you ain't gonna do that today. But that does give you a thought. Truth Seeking says, how is a common enemy when they're working with the common enemy? So that's really coming. All right. But y'all with me, right? And so the other part of this is, could the UFO threat be a deliberate manipulation to achieve global political agenda rather than genuine alien invasion? Could there be? Because, and we're just starting out, folks. I'm gonna reach you tonight. I want you to know, stay in here, don't go anywhere. Make sure you sit down for this one, because I'm doing this in micro levels for you tonight. Because by the time we start getting down to biblical prophecy and all of those things, then you guys are going to, really, really look at the world a different way. So I think it's something to, it's something to really think about, and it's just one of those things right now. So, all right. Now, let me continue so that we'll go down. Could, like I said, the UFO threat be a deliberate manipulation to achieve a global political agenda rather than a genuine alien invasion? Because there's a kicker here. In here, too, this particular chapter, like not the whole book, I'm just going through a chapter when I was reading this. The source claimed that this isn't just a what-if scenario. According to them, the invasion is already underway. It's just that we don't see it. Let me repeat that. According to them, the invasion is already underway. We're looking this way, and they could be invading that way, right? I'm just saying. Or let me make that a little more, direct. We're looking this way for an invasion, and they're invading us from this way, dimensional, interdimensional, or wherever they're coming from. And we could be missing it. And it's because we've been trained to look that way for an invasion. And we've been trained to look for a holographic invasion. We've been trained to look for a false flag aerial invasion. And we're going to keep looking for it. We're going to keep staring up there for it. And while all along the invasion in the mind has already been taking place, and they're working it, And all they got to do now is instill the final part is AI transhumanism and then checkmate. And we are still waiting up here for the invasion that we think that was the true meaning. I'm just saying, and just me talking, and we're here as a community, and we can work together with that train of thought. That's all I'm saying. We can work together with that train of thought, because the evasion, according to many and according to some stuff, is now, N-O-W, now. And so we talking about the sources claim that this isn't just a theory. It's a planned invasion by evil aliens that has been happening for decades. Jordan Maxwell said it a while ago, that the secret societies, they all have been not manipulated, guided. He used the word guided, meaning they're using their tool books. Because if you think about it, if we start really thinking about the aliens are not from the sky, are not after our souls. But whatever it is here, in the king or whatever, they have access to this realm, this world, whatever the celebrities are doing, whatever the satanic rituals, they're after our souls. And maybe we're missing the protection point that we need to protect our souls, because it's maybe not exactly what we think, and these demons and whatever it is are aliens to us, or now in a whole different game plan. And again, this is why I wear my protection symbols. This is why if you go to the website, they're there. Or I think I moved some of them because I just didn't think people were ready for it, right? But we're all going to teach people how to do your own sigils. I'm working on my own program for that. When we start doing our meetups on Saturdays, and then maybe other days I may do that, because it is necessary. Because if you start looking at the wealthy people, they have protection sigils already. They have their family crest, which are sigils of protection. We think we just need to do it when we get the money. We do it before you get the money so you can keep the money and have your souls. Whatever you're going to do, preparation is everything. Anyway, I'm not going on there tonight. That's not where I'm going with that, because that's not the point of the matter. I don't want you to hop off the lie because I detoured for a minute. We're not ready or whatever. So the author states there's an investigation audio tape report that he talks about called Project Abena, if I pronounce that correct, Abaddon. This is the whole theory of where we're going to go tonight, okay? All of that I've said has taken us to this moment, and now put your slippers on, Dorothy, because we're about to go for a ride, okay? Project Abena. Now, it states that there is a planned and an invasion of this planet by evil aliens and extraterrestrials bent on our destruction. This is presented as a definitive fact, not a speculation. So Houston, we got a problem. All right, and I'm saying it, I'm repeating it. You go look it up, because my job is to give you enough information you can read, enough information you can see, you can hear, to awaken your curiosity to the possibility that there just may not be aliens as well, and it could be some demonic stuff, so that you take the initiative and go the rest of the way if you so choose. That is all what I'm doing. That is all my job is to do. I'm not here because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, of course. But my job is not the teacher. My job is the conduit, to knock down the walls. My job is to dig the hole open, to eliminate all of your excuses so that you go the rest of the way. That's all I'm doing, because there's so many people that are wanderers and forgotten about and all this. They need the door open. I'm going to open the door. See, everybody wants you to kick down the door. I'm going to open the door. Let me get back on that. That's just my personal mission. That's just what it's always been. And now I'm just stating it to you so that you know. However, and to continue, conjunction, junction, what's your function, whatever. This invasion and attack has been proceeding for many years, at least since 1947. That's over at this time, probably 70, 80 years now? 75, 80 maybe. It's been happening. And remember, I told you the game plan has changed. It really has. It's changed quite some time now when you start thinking about it. And so the scope and the breadth of the UFO assault has expanded exponentially, proportionally. I mean, it's grew in the recent years. It's all over the place now. And go look up your government documents. There are people have been leaking that it is not that it is some demonic stuff. And it's not like you have not known that. If you watch many of my shows, and you watch a lot of other people that gets into this, and you know Truth versus Authority, we talk about it is something else deeper. Yeah, we talk about the reptilian agenda. We talk about all these things that we can't see. And once again, if they're not operating in this realm, they're aliens. But they also could be some bad, malevolent things that are going on. And it asks the question, why do we see so much rituals out there? Why do we see so many of these things happening that we have to think about that is happening in secret societies in all of these places? They're not playing by the same rules that we're looking up, waiting for a holographic alien invasion. They're digging from within and underneath to get our souls. All right, so anyway, let me continue. If you're on board with me, let me know. Let me know if I'm let me know if I'm just getting you a little curious tonight. I just want to know if I'm doing my job. I need a little affirmation. Sometimes I'm just looking in the camera. I can't see anything. When I look over, the expectation is just let me know I'm reaching you, or you hear me, or maybe you considering something I'm saying. Maybe I've awakened your curiosity and you want to put something else in a comment to put us in the right direction as a community. Maybe it's your moment, your time. Maybe it is you to become a truth speaker instead of a truth seeker. Maybe we're going to open all that today. And maybe you could be a hater too, right? But we know about that. We love those. However, where I'm going with this is that the scope of that in the recent years has just been out of this place. We're literally plagued today with UFO sightings. Why is that? The fuck is everywhere now. Everywhere. It is so common now that they have made it so common, and I may butcher the word, but they have desensitized us to a fact that we don't even care. Nobody cares about nothing flying around no more. We want to see it on the ground. They don't even care. Used to, there was channels that got millions of views when they posted something that's flying around that we don't know what it is. And there's still people talking about that stuff today. I'm not saying they're wrong. There are still some good channels getting some views I wish I had. I'm not saying that for sure, because people are still interested in things that are flying around. Boy, have they done a number on that one. Thomas says she's locked in. Tommy said you're doing an amazing job, like always. Thank you. You got my attention, Sonia says. Doing great. Thank you. Sean says I'm on board with you. All right, cool. Denisha said intrigued. Is that Janine says 100, 100. All right, we're good. All right, so I'm down with that. Truth Seeking with Veronica says it's just a lot of chaotic confusion on purpose. It's about the showdown. All right, so let me go down this rabbit hole. We're literally plagued with UFO sightings today, literally, including reported cases of alien abductions, vile experimentations of human beings in the chambers of mysterious aircraft. Okay, so that's where it is now. And the direct accusation of a planned invasion bent on our destruction is out there and evokes a profound fear and sense of helplessness. That is what they're trying to do. They've done that. They've done it. Now, when we talk about the vile experimentation of a human being, is a horrifying claim painting a picture of torture and violation. This detail is designed to shock and anger. I'm breaking this down for us. The idea that it has been going on since 1947 and now expanded by exponential proportions suggests a creepy, unstoppable horror that's reaching a crescendo. Now, think about this. On one hand, in real life, we have these things that we're hearing about with the Epsteins, the ditties, the rituals, all of this same exportation to human beings, if not even deeper and more sinister on the planet, within all these, rituals that are being done, capturing and trying to take control of souls every day. But somehow, some way, people are still focusing on up there that it is coming. And they're here and they're up there saving us, watching us, waiting to pounce on the world when it gets fed up. Are you kidding me? When it gets fed up, they're going to pounce on the world, the Galactic Federation. They're going to come down and shake things right. They should have been here. They should have been here. And whatever we think the rules are for humanity, like I said in the beginning, I think we need to really think about what the world natural order or natural laws of earth of humanity mean versus what we think. We think they're supposed to stop the rich from doing what they're doing when we need to stand up for ourselves. Maybe. Maybe it's just something that we're missing. And we need to change all of that. Once again, the idea that this has been going on since 1947 and now expanded by exponential proportions suggests a creepy, unstoppable horror, once again, that is reaching its boiling point. It's there. So my question, if the evasion has been proceeding now for many years, what have our governments been doing to protect us? Think about that now. Are they failing? Are they being complicit? We got congressional hearings that don't want to tell us nothing. We got oversight that is spending money from our hard slave labor to do whatever they want to do with it. We got people saying we don't know what it is, so now we want y'all to tell us that we need, some more funding. We need to put this in place. And for the last 60, 70 years, they were saying ain't nothing to see there, folks, until they realize they can make money from our curiosity, from our fear, from everything that they have set forward. They can make money from it. And all we did was give them a blank check. All we did was give them permission to create special access programs that we don't have access to. And it's our money. And it's for our protection. So why won't we know? I think, so maybe there's a different agenda and plan. The other part of this, why the vile experimentations? Now that makes you start to wonder, why the experimentations? What is the purpose of these torturous acts on human beings? Okay, now think about what I'm about to say to you, because I told you we're going to open up some stuff tonight. I said it. And I want to make sure I look you in the camera when I say this. On one hand, they got us, hang on. On one hand, they got us hearing about the stories of torture, human exploitation, DNA, RNA extraction, bloodline seeking, all of these things. They got us focusing on what could and is be happening with all of these things, and yet they're doing it in real life on this side of the fence. They're exploiting us. They're doing sack blood stuff, rituals, human body stuff. They're doing every, if not worse, in the real life after soul catching than they ever have been doing, that we would know that is a mystery. And could it be a deflection in some cases? Let me know if you whip the idea where I'm going with this tonight. And because he talks about it too, so I'm not by myself. But let me know if you get where I'm going with this tonight, or just an idea of us to say, it's something for us to think about. Because what is the purpose of these torturous things on a human? And are they looking for something specific, or is it just malice? Because it's always about DNA. It's all about DNA and everything else. It really is. It's all about DNA. Roderick, do you believe it's the rules for a bigger agenda of the elite, or do you believe it's beyond their true understanding? No, it's not it's not beyond their understanding. They got it. See, you got to understand truth seeking. They already know. That's why they can control. They know what we don't know. See, when I had my car fixed a few months ago, I called a mechanic. Why did I call him? Because he knew something I didn't know. If I knew the information, I wouldn't have called him, right? I would have fixed it myself. Anytime anybody or doing something or whatever, or you getting paid for knowledge just because you know something they don't know. So they're doing something to control us because they know something we don't know. So I don't think they don't have an understanding, because they do, because they've been told, because the demons or whatever it is that needs them to do their bidding is giving them the rule book, the playbook, and the how-to manual to do what they're doing. Some of these things didn't come from human comprehension. It came beyond that. And maybe there's some good spirits too who are sending those downloads to people who are sending, and not maybe, but there is good spirits who are sending those downloads and information the same way. The problem is we need to come together as a mass and use the same fight plan and the battle plan and fight back in the other realm. So it's happening across the board. Now, other part, if this assault is exponentially expanding, why does it feel like a fringe topic to many? That's a question. And is the cover-up that effective? Absolutely. That is what they have done in most cases. And I'm not saying two things can't be true at the same time, that some humans of the future is coming back visiting us. I'm not saying that it's not possible, because we got technology for that. So two things can be true at the same time, that some of those things that we're seeing may not be quote unquote aliens, but advanced human civilizations that's far beyond where we are. But does not mean that whatever is happening there is not something that's happening in this realm on the other side of the fence. If y'all know where I'm going with that, or just kind of let's go down the road. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to put something on the screen here just to let you know. In 3 weeks, August the 23rd, we're going to have our meet and greet. We're going to be in an indoor location. I'll start posting the location pretty soon. I have a website that I'm working on that you can go opt in and see all the dates. We're going to be meeting every third Saturday of the month, every month. We're going to grow. Then we're going to start learning. We're going to do a lot of stuff. It's the calling. It's time to bring together. Because one thing I noticed is everybody who was showing up found home, and we're going to build a bigger home. So just put that on the calendar. If you're in Dallas-Fort Worth area, once again, we met at the park the next time. We have a location now. I'll start announcing that. And they're opening up their doors to us. Nice facility, air conditioned, garden outside so you can get some knowledge there, ground if you want to. We're going to have some singing, sound stuff. I mean, we're doing this thing. All right. So just hope you can get on our text list and stuff, but we're going to I'm going to get a text thing where you can opt into it and we can do it a little more better and catch everybody that we can do it. Me and Maya talked about that today. So, all right. So let me continue. We can also say, but what if there are just wild claims or there are credible reports backing this up? So the source here suggests a shocking answer. So I'm going to go into it. Credibility over controversy. I think that's a great segue into where we're going here tonight. So we can say that the former U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff, General Nathan Twining, back in the day, declared that UFO phenomenon something real and not imaginary. He said this a long time ago. Now, the document highlights that many influential and fully believable authorities claim to have observed UFOs. You can look him up. General Nathan Twining, a respected former chief of staff of the U.S. Air Force, stated this, and I quote, "The UFO phenomena is something real and not imaginary or fictitious." This is a profound statement, of course, from a highly authoritative military figure. And at that time, former President Jimmy Carter also said and testified to, testified to seeing what he believes was a UFO, describing a blue, reddish, luminous, and its erratic movement. That was from the president. Now, when we start talking about some of the sources here, the sources introduce controversial theories here. And let's get into some of those. One in particular is UFO aliens being or physical entities from another planet or from a nearby star system. That's the first controversial theory that we've had so far, and we've been running with this since 1947. The other controversial theory is that the government is covering up their existence. Remember, we've been running with that for 70 years. 75 years until now, they're trying to tell us that they know something is up there, but they don't know what it is. And we need money. Cash cow time. Another controversial part is that the most shocking of them all is that the U.S. government is even cooperating with interplanetary and UFO alien civilizations. Think about that for a moment. We fell for it. How many of us right now have heard that our government is working with aliens? And I'm not saying it's not true, but think about it. If they're working with aliens, but then they're controlling us with their technology and things that they're learning from the aliens, is the aliens not telling them, hey, I don't want y'all to use that for that? I don't need you to suppress the people. I don't need you to control them. They need to be free, or I'm going to stop giving you the technology. That's not happening unless it's something evil that's giving it to them. But that's not happening, right? And another part of this is that the U.S. government allegedly allowed citizens to be kidnapped to have a genetic experimentation conducted on their human bodies. So these are the controversies that I'm saying, allegedly, right? 3 things. Aliens are physical entities from another planet or nearby star systems. Number 2, the government is covering up their existence. Check. And number 3, which I would think is one of the most shocking of them all, is that the government is even cooperating with these interplanetary alien civilizations, allowing them to take the citizens, which is us, who pay them, who put them in office, to have genetic experimentations conducted on our human bodies, all by our government. What do y'all think about that? Think about that as a discussion. Think about that as a discussion. Think about that. I'm with you, Roberta. He's like, what the WF is working with them mean? You think about it. Because, okay, I want you to think about this. The direct quotes from some of the top military and political figures like Twining and Carter at the time create a powerful conflict with an official silence or dismissal of UFOs. And so we can ask, why are not these statements leading full disclosure? Think about it. President Reagan, Jimmy Carter, some of the people we hearing in our political world today are still sitting out here saying stuff from, of course, why are they not leading to disclosure? If they act like they're concerned, why is it not leading to disclosure? Because they're wagging the dog. You better believe it. And the theory of the government cooperation with aliens leading to kidnapping and genetic experimentation on citizens is designed to evoke the extreme anger, betrayal, fear, and it implies that the government has turned against its own people. There's another part of that, right? But anyway, if you want to support the show, if you're getting any value tonight, this is a community show. You can do it by super chat tonight. In fact, if you want to highlight any of your questions or something you want me to put on screen, and so everybody can see it, because I get a lot flowing through, I would love for you to use the super chat. It will support the channel, but it also get me to see it on screen. So our godmother don't have to type me and say, hey, such and such gave or said something, is now set that it will light up whenever you guys doing that, or Cash App if you, which is on the screen to bottom tonight. If you find any value, and hopefully you do find value in what we're talking about tonight, and all nights to be exact. All right. So the other part of this is the conflict between believable reports and questionable theories. Immediately, this is going to set up a dramatic tension. And are those theories with wide speculation, or are they terrifying truth that explains believable reports? It's kind of like a tongue twister or a mind twister. So if we go back to the past, if a U.S. president and a chief of staff can openly state that they're seeing UFOs, why does it seem so French? In fact, in the opening of my show, I got a clip. I'm just going to play it, that Barack Obama says something. It's just a little clip, but you're going to hear it right here.
Objects in the sky. We don't know exactly what they are.
Now, he said it. There's objects in the sky. He's the president of the United States. Get access to all the information that he wants, almost. So if the president says it, why don't we have disclosure? Okay? How could any government justify cooperating with entities that kidnap and experiment on its own citizens? What kind of deal is that? What kind of deal could possibly they have made that could be that acceptable? And we accept it. So they put out the rumors or the conspiracies that the government has made a deal, a treaty, says, hey, you give us some technology. We're going to allow you to take anybody that you want, do what you want to them. And people don't say nothing about that in the masses, because religion that they install keeps that part down, because you're going to say it ain't what it is. It's like everything is confused. Everything is confused. It all goes all kinds of ways. Everything is confused. All right, so let me continue, because I need y'all in the chat now. Come on with it tonight. Let's have a conversation tonight. And where I'm going with this, in some of the theorists take these corporation government ideas even further, because some of them suggest even more sinister plan involving global control orchestrated through a terrifying deception. So now what we're going to get into, to kind of open this up a little bit, to get us to helping understand, we're going to get into what I call a stage invasion scenario. So let's get ready for this, all right? This is probably a good part of what we're doing. And also, once again, thank everybody who got their luminous. I've been seeing people wearing them. We've been meeting out wearing them. It's just so understanding. Also, support the show. I sent out all of our orders today, shirts, and anybody that's expecting that have ordered, everything went out today. I sent out the drives today to the people who got their the information, and hopefully when they get it, they understand it. They're going to see a lot of everything, because you got to think in the mind of an arc, and how you gather the best of the best of information and code it in there. Some of the best secrets that you can find. You got to dig through. They're there. They're there. And so all of these things are just where it is. All right, y'all give a shout out to Diane from Cash App Support. Thank you very much. Thank you. So now we're going to go into the invasion scenario. This is where it's going to get fun, okay? But it's real. It's definitely real, and it's explosive. And this has come from back then. So imagine where we are now. Imagine where we are right now. Some believe back that time when Reagan made that statement in the UN speech about aliens it was a what if. It was a coded message about carefully contrived and stage managed events to usher in the new world order. The new world order. You get what I'm saying? Someone said, do you have a bucket hats for sale with the emblem? Like the one I'm wearing? Or what? I don't know what a bucket hat is. So maybe I'm kind of lost on that. I have to look it up. Maya, find out what a bucket hat is and text me a picture if it's something I don't know. Maybe. Let me know. All right. So some, like I said, believe it was a coded message for the New World Order, because these theories propose that Reagan's UN speech mentioning what if. Now, of course, my daddy grew me up with the word what if. I used to say what if. He was like, son, what if a dog had a square Uranus, he'll let out bricks. And then he'd say, if what if a if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So whatever. But the whole point is, and what if an alien invasion was actually a revelation of a future event is to occur? Now, again, this event is described as a carefully contrived and stage managed event, implies a massive, elaborate deception. Now, let's get to the plan. A fishing hat. Okay. I can order one, though. Special. Email me, Ellie, contact@whythebigsecret.com, and then I'll send you some photos of a bucket hat, and then you can tell me you like this one or not, and then I can get it within a day and then make it and everything from here. I can add it to it. We do special orders here. All right, so here's the plan. Let's go into the plan just a little bit. UFOs is what they said. All right, so UFOs, I just got a bucket hat, so I'm going to get a picture of it. Oh, yeah, I can get some. Thank you, Mal. Appreciate it. Yeah, so if you want a bucket hat, I can get one. You can, it'll be same as the other prices, $26 or whatever. And shipping, I think it's $5 or $6. You can cash app it and put your telephone number. I'll call you, and then I'll get your address. And then by Thursday or Friday, I'll ship it out to you. And it'll have the luminous on it. But yes, I can do it. We can get them. All right. So, the plan we could talk about is that UFO will be observed as a mass event in our skies. Okay, this is the plan. I want you to know. Followed by world leaders all together announcing agreement with these superior technology advanced UFO forces. The ultimate outcome the leaders will agree to establish a new world order, including a world government, and you better believe it's going to be a monotheistic religion, a God, so to speak. They have to do that one. That is probably what they're working toward. Okay. Now, the idea of carefully contrived stage managed event implies ultimate betrayal from those in power, and it just means that we're pawns in a grand, terrifying experiment. That's plain and simple. The phrase dramatic, if you start thinking about it, is the heart-stopping episode of it all. It highlights the intended psychological impact on global population. See, they word their words carefully, people. And the demand to establish a new world order, including one world government, under the guise of an alien threat, is a core conspiracy theory concept that evokes deep distrust of global institutions and powerful elites, and implies a surrender of sovereignty, freedom, and national identity. And once again, it all goes there, but then they're talking about the demonic stuff that comes to the bottom line. So we got to look at all that a little different. And the question would be, why would a superior technological advanced alien force need humanity to establish a new world order? Why would they? They ain't got time for that. If they want to come down, y'all seen the movie Game of Thrones. Daenerys didn't ask for nothing, not ask for nothing. She made you bend the knee or else, period. Y'all seen Game of Thrones, right? Whenever she really got what she was and you did not bend the knee, Drogon and fire and brimstone, You didn't bend the knee, you paid the price. So they have the technology for us to bend the knee. Why would they need a new world order? They just use the technology. Y'all gonna bend the knee, right? So they know they can do this. So why do we got to look at it that way? Could they just impose it? That's what they should. That's what they would do. All of the technologically advanced, they can just impose their will. We see that every day. You see it in relationships. Just impose your will. So is the threat of alien invasion the only way to unite humanity under a single government, or is it a shortcut to bypass democratic processes because the people rule? All right, so, and what this terrifying surrender is to UFOs actually entail? That's what I'm sure you're asking, because the next part that we're going to get into that was in here was another paragraph that came out of this this book. Like I said, paints a different picture. It paints a whole different picture of the global upheaval. It really does. We're talking about the Babylonian blueprint. Now, I'm getting ready to touch you a little bit, just a little bit. We're going to go into the book here a little bit. We're going to talk about this Babylonian blueprint. I've been leading to this anyway. I really have. We're going to go to that. We're going to go to that right now. Because the chilling aftermath of a UFO surrender, listen to what I'm just getting ready to say now. This is why we're here. Part of it. If they make this thing happen, listen to me closely. You heard it from here, and you're going to hear it from other places, but you heard it from here tonight at approximately 9:18 Central Time and TikToking, okay? If this happens, and when it does, the aftermath of this alien invasion, all religions is going to be merged. Make no mistake about it. Now, the problem with the statement that's coming out my mouth, all religions, but the problem is what religion? And who's controlling that? Is it the God of the underworld or the world? Is it his religion? Did he win for the people that's here on earth? You know what I'm saying? Or you get what I'm saying? Because when they pull that off, it will go down. One government, one world order, and one religion. And that's monotheistic, and that means one God. Only one. And it will go down as such, because that's the whole plan. And you better believe it. Fear will make some people come together. And all you have to do is make it all resonate with each other. And you're talking about the borders will be erased. Okay, now we ain't got to worry about deportation. And we're talking about a global Babylon. That is what's going to happen. Go look up the text. Go think about what I'm saying. We're not having church, but I'm telling you, the outcome of this thing that they're going to pull off is going to bring everything to one. One government, one global world, one religion. But the religion is the gatekeeper of it all. It's the control mechanism of it all. I didn't say nothing about spirituality. I did not say that. I ain't saying nothing about consciousness. I'm not saying none of that. I said religion, people. And there's more people into religion that outweigh people that are into the consciousness side. I even have a shirt that says you cannot grow spiritually and learning religiously. I don't even put it on the site. I thought it was too deep back in the day when we made it. Yeah. So following the alleged surrender to the UFOs, most of the sources claim that all world religions were promptly merged and all national borders erased. This is what they said. And the objective of this is going to be global unity, as in Babylon will finally be established. This direct comparison to Babylon carries a strong negative connotation, especially in a biblical context. I'm just making people understand what we're talking about. You know, I'm just saying whatever here, not whatever. But conspiring UFO commanders and Earth leaders will then tell us that this is our own God. See, the plan is there. They've been doing it. That this is for our own God, and that the UFO aliens simply are forcing us to do what is in our own self-interest. And this frames the control of a benevolent. Now, it's going to make it look like, oh, you doing this because it's in your best interest. It's in your best interest. And like I was telling you, it's more, people, get your protection. Let me just say that right now. Get your spiritual protection. I have my malas. I got my protection models. This is what the Luminous is designed for you to see what is happening. It's all based on sigils, and sigils are very powerful. Okay? Make no mistake about it. Once you got them all active and activated and in charge, they work. We're going to start doing that. The most simplest thing. You can put something together, protect you from anything that you want. And we're not talking witchcraft or nothing like. We're just talking ancestral symbolism and knowledge, esoteric knowledge. But you're going to learn it from here. That's why I got the trademark, the symbolizer. I'm coming. Just stay with me, grow with me, and we're going to get there. And we're going to get there on a whole level, not this high level where you got to, can't even put it together in thought sometimes. I'm just saying we're going to put it on the most level that we're supposed to all can understand and implement, okay? If you so choose. Remember that, though. If you so choose. So anyway, in here, the author, when texting Mars, he talks about only a part. He partially confirms and collaborates some of those theories. However, the fact that the U.S. government knows much more than it's revealing about UFOs, and of course, you got to know the CIA, FBI, and other agencies refuse to divulge the information, and we as citizens have the right to know under the top secret classification. We're supposed to know everything. And the fact that we're running down the street talking about disclosure, they're going to tell us something, and they haven't done it then, and they ain't doing it then, and they ain't done it now, and they ain't going to do it in the future. But we can come together and gather that information as hunter-gatherers, okay? I'm just letting y'all know. We can come together as hunter-gatherers, and we can do this without a shadow of a doubt. That is what we could do, period. Plain and simple. And it's worth noting. Now, understand that when they're talking about how to frame this as control, listen, the fact that the U.S. government and what they're doing, and that forces the religion and everything to merge, erasure of national borders is an extreme assault on individual identity, cultural heritage, and spiritual freedom. You see, I just brought it home right there. We're talking about spiritual freedom. This is why you need to protect yourself on a spiritual level, because that's what they're trying to get. They know the religion folks got enough of them. They know that. There's a lot of people tied up in religion, but they can't get the spiritual people. And that's where the threat is. People like yourself, people that are in this community and beyond, people like my sister Erin Lyons, and who teaches you to connect these things, these dots everywhere. These people are considered threats as much as I am, and as much as you will be too, because you are luminous. Remember that. Make no mistake about that. It's all done for a reason. It's all done for a reason. And the comparison to Babylon, let me get down into that, is designed to invoke ancient biblical prophecies. That's why I put it in the title, of wickedness and rebellion against God, making this a global unity inherently evil. They want us to rebel. It's crazy. We know God exists, but they want the rebellion to come all the way back down to a premortal level. So they're using a Babylonian conspiracy, or agenda, the way they're putting this thing together. The notion that conspiring UFO commanders, like I said, will manipulate us by claiming forge unity for our own good is deeply cynical. It really is bad. It suggests a complete lack of regard of human anatomy, number one. And when you start talking about Tex Mars, when he wrote in here, was pretty interesting, by the way. He talks about that the government is withholding our right to know, keeps the conspiracy alive, and fuels distrust of thirds. See, he said the government is keeping our right to know. They don't want us to know. And look, I want you to understand something. I'm just put this, I'm marketing though. See, when I put up here for this thing, let me see where did I put it. Maybe I didn't have it there. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna put it down. But there was a moment of me giving you information to let you know, especially in our Patreon area, which we're getting ready to crank up. All right, so if you haven't got your membership to Patreon, you better do it, because we're getting ready to close it up and we're getting ready to go deep. You know, we got to change the plan of what we're doing. That's fine, but we're getting ready to go deep, and then we'll open it up every once in a while, you know. But we're going to have our speakers in there and everything else. So if you have not gone to it, it'll be the time for you to suggest that you do. And that's it right there on the screen. Go ahead and get it, Patreon, and make sure you get the all access pass to 26. You won't be disappointed. I have been behind the scenes working. So let's think about a little bit that the forced merging of the religions. This is something that I want you to understand, because the erasure of those borders and everything else. This is the extreme assault on individual identity. That's what they want, okay, when it comes down to that. And I said it a while ago, spiritual freedom was the key. Because when you compare that to Babylon, it's designed to invoke all those biblical prophecies. And it is something that you want to know. Because the question is, if global unity is the ultimate goal, or is it stepping stone to something even more sinister? So you can ask yourself, who defines our own self-interest in this particular scenario, and what costs to individual liberty and faith? I think it's the price. And if the government knows much more, why is it still clinging to secrecy when the government, global unity, and survival are supposedly at stake? What are they really protecting? That's the other part, because I think that they are changing a few things now. Now, we have a lot more to this tonight, a lot, and it's going to be good. I think I'm going to do the part 2 of this and get into the secret CIA projects and mind control. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll go into the biblical prophecy and ancient evils. We'll go into Satan's 2 fronts tomorrow. We will go into the identity of adversary tomorrow. We will go into the inevitable triumph tomorrow. And we'll go into how overcomers in Christ, because I think that's something really important for us to do. And that'll be toward the end, because otherwise we'll be here another couple of hours, and that it takes a lot we've been here an hour and a half. So we'll do a part continuation. I will not be on Forbidden Knowledge tomorrow. So I'll be here at 8:00 here on our channel. And so we'll get started right at 8 and continue this conversation. Let me know if you got anything from this tonight, because we're still going to go deeper. Let me know. We're still going to go deeper. Let me know if you got any, give me some feedback tonight. Let me know so we can go deeper into this thing, because I would love to do that. Let me know, because we can go deeper tonight, but we'll be here a few hours. But I think it'd be better yet to go tomorrow. We got a lot of things coming up, so if you're going to support the show, you find any value, your Cash App donations are going to be helpful. If you go and get some gear from the shop, truthversusauthority.store, that will be helpful. And And once again, whatever it is, and for those of you who are going deeper and deeper, we are finishing up letting people into our magical drive of information. And don't, misunderstand the arc of information is what it's called, because these people gathered the best of the best of knowledge all over from a lot of people and embedded a lot of top secret stuff, man. We got to sift through it all and everything else. And just kind of think about it from there. Let me see if I even have my, what I was going to show you somewhere. But anyway, so like I said, we will get ready for tomorrow. I thank y'all for being here tonight. Please, after the video, if you can like and share. If you have not liked and shared this video tonight, go ahead and do it right now. Let me see how many likes do we have currently. And so make sure you, again, give us some like and shares, and we can put that out too. Yeah, so we don't even have 100 likes, but if you get a chance, let's get some 100 likes in here and get this thing going and moving pretty quickly so we can hit that right off the bat. And we can do that. So always, like I said, in the future, what I'm going to try to do to help the show out, and it'll help me because we're getting a lot of comments and stuff, and I don't get to see them. For those of you who can support the show via super chats too, please start doing that to help us, because we're about to do some bigger things, and it is time for us to grow, okay? And then grow in more frequency and everything else. So, but anyway, I love y'all. Y'all know I do. I love you. Love each and every one of you. Make sure you give someone a hug in your families. Hug some people. Let them know it's love. And of course, as you know, that's just what we're all about, and we're going to do it. So tomorrow we will continue this particular, conversation. And then we'll go into the deep side of this and go, because this is one conversation I think we need to have. And so I'm really excited about us having the conversation of biblical prophecy and the truth about aliens and UFOs, abductions, and based upon, like I said, Tex Mars and his conspiracy. This is one of the chapters. We're going to go through a lot of those chapters too. So make no mistake about it, that it'll be something that we will do pretty much in the future as we continue to do. But again, if you enjoy, again, this type of content, just keep posting and let me know, and we'll keep going and everything else. And give a shout out to our moderators. Once again, August the 23rd, make sure you get your calendar there. We're going to be indoor. So I know it's hot in August and cold in the winter, but now we have an indoor facility. We can lounge around, talk, tell stories, share our experiences, get a little sound bowl therapy going, because we're going to have that there too. You just show up and really enjoy the time of being from 10 a.m. to, I think we'll do it to 3 or 4 this time, maybe. Since we're indoors, we can really enjoy it. But make sure you show up and everything else. But once again, we are in an indoor facility, so it does going to cost us, but I'm not going to ask for contributions. People who contribute to the show, it's just going to allow us to do this or whatever. But when you come, just show up, right? Come on, your greatest moments, your worst moments, and we're going to all hug each other and give each other some time together and everything else. So, all right, I love y'all and can't wait to see all of you at our next event. And I'll see you tomorrow to continue this conversation, okay? A part 2 of this. So a part 2. All right.
UFOs.
UAPs.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
My gosh.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Hey man, look at the fly!